What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 12, Episode 2, Sick Day. Holy crap. After 12 seasons, the ability to deliver such an emotional powerhouse of an episode is crazy. Absolutely crazy and mind-blowing to me. Wow. Wow. I don't know what else to say. This episode really brought it tonight. Let's talk about it. First of all, I love the fact that this is a JJ-centered episode. Honestly, I love any episode centered around the characters because we don't get enough of that. Over the past few seasons, it's been a lot of, here's this case, here's this case, here's this case. We hardly have, alright, this case right here affected this character, and here's why. We even have less of characters interacting with the people close to them in their lives. I mean, when's the last time we've seen Will? When's the last time we saw Jack for Hotch? When's the last time we saw Garcia's boyfriend? We hardly see any of these characters anymore. And I want to see more of them. I want to see more episodes like this where we delve into the mind of these characters, the team. We get more personally connected to them. It's not just, here's this case, solve it, catch the unsub, that's it. We've seen enough of that. We've seen almost 12, well, not counting the episodes where they were more character focused, we've probably had enough to fill up at least 9 seasons of just, here's a bunch of filler episodes with just a case, just an unsub, no character connection at all. We've had enough of those. You know, I think, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I personally feel like we need more episodes now, especially 12 seasons in. We need them more connected to the team. We need them to connect somehow. We need to have more focus on them, less on unsubs, because we've seen enough. You know, like that's not why the show interests me anymore. I've already seen enough of that. I want to see more about these characters and what's going to happen with them, and you know, some of the bad guys that connect to them, like Mr. Scratch, like George Foyet in the past. Characters like that interest me. So that's why this episode was really, really good. Will being involved makes it even better because now we have not only an episode connected to JJ, but we also get to see her interacting with Will and her sons, which we hardly ever see. And can I just say, as somebody who, you know, I'm not an actor just yet, I'm working on it, I'm getting there, but as somebody who's done a lot of acting in the past, the thought that I can't remember the name of the actor, but the guy that plays Will, he's hardly ever on the show. Like, I can't remember the last time that he and JJ have had to interact in an episode. The fact that even after all this time, he can come back and work on a show with her, and they still have this much chemistry. I totally believe that they're married, that they've been married, that they have 2 sons together. I totally believe it. I cannot believe that they managed to have that much chemistry despite the fact that they've hardly seen each other. Probably, you know, I can't remember the last time it's been since they've seen each other on the show, but I'd say it's probably been over a year. I don't think we saw them together at all on season 11, unless I'm just forgetting something. But I honestly can't remember the last time I've seen them together. If somebody wants to check on that and let me know when it was, it's been a very long time, and they've still got the chemistry. They still feel like they're husband and wife, because even though we don't see them on the show, you know, as far as the story goes, as far as this fictional world of Criminal Minds, they're still living together. They're still married. They still got 2 kids. So it makes sense that they still have the chemistry. But from a I'm watching a show perspective, these two, this actor and actress, still having chemistry despite hardly seeing each other, is pretty incredible. And they do an incredible job of delivering the emotion. The performances are great. Wow. I remember saying to myself halfway through, I can't believe the chemistry is still there. That's incredible. I even had to look up to make sure that he wasn't actually her husband in real life, and he's not. So I thought maybe that was how they did it, but no, they've just got it. There's something about them working together. They know what to do. But yeah, let's talk about the case itself, because it really, you could tell it impacted JJ in some way. And just like going through most of it, you know, Will even asked her at the beginning, were there kids involved? And you know that's kind of her soft spot right now because she's got her own kids. she used to talk to the families of the victims and talk to them just easily. It was no problem for her. But now that she has kids of her own, it's like she can relate to them, especially if they're little kids. She can relate even more, and it affects her so much more. And so it's kind of like, did this case just affect her because it was kids involved, or did she possibly lose a kid at the end? Like, did one of the kids that got kidnapped not make it? And honestly, throughout the entire episode, I'm thinking, no, that can't be it. It's just got to be because there are kids involved. It's infecting her more, that type of thing. Well, as they're going through the case, I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about in between, the beginning and the end. It's a pretty much normal Criminal Minds episode. You've got them working through the facts. You've got them figuring out the unsub's patterns, why he was doing certain things. The interesting thing is, I thought this week was going to be the first one without Hotch on it. One of my viewers last week asked what I thought it was going to be like without him on the show. And I thought this was going to be the first week. It actually turns out next week, I think, is going to be the first week that he's not on the show. If you don't know what happened, just look up Thomas Gibson and issues on Criminal Minds. You'll probably read about it. But anyway, so it was interesting seeing them working together. Normal stuff, except this time you have JJ narrating, not narrating. That would be weird. But anyway, you got her narrating kind of what they're doing, so it was a little bit different, but pretty much the same Criminal Minds formula. So all this is going on the entire time. I'm thinking, is she going to lose one of the kids? Like, is she not going to be able to save them? That wouldn't make any sense. Like, this show doesn't do that. The show does not do not saving the kids. Like, that's... They save them. That is what they do. They save the kids. And then this entire final scene is happening. You've got the unsub has his sister and then the two kids that he kidnapped trapped inside this burning building. Which I would say the only problem I have with this episode, like the one issue, is that they didn't really discuss... They figured out everything, but what they didn't figure out is, why did he take the kids if he already had his sister? Like, the whole thing was he was burning him and his sister alive. Like, those were the surrogates. Those kids were the surrogates for him and his sister. So it's kind of like, okay, if that's the case, why did he... If he already has a sister, why did he already take these two kids? Like, that was the only thing they didn't explain. But, I don't know. Maybe it was explained and I just missed it, but it felt like the only reason that she was there was so that they could say, yeah, there's his sister. It was kind of like a last-minute thing, like, oh yeah, we saved a sister too, that type of thing. And it also kind of leads to the final moment where she sends Luke after the unsub. She starts shooting the lock to get the boy that she's trying to save, Roberto, gets the lock off of his, tells him to go. Luke comes back in with bolt cutters, manages to get the chains off of the unsub's sister. Her ankles are broken, so he has to carry her out, which leads to now JJ has to get the bolt cutters to save the little boy's sister. And explosions happen, daze her, so now she's lost the bolt cutters, and fire's surrounding her, and she tries to go get the sister, and then all of a sudden Luke comes back in, sees that these barrels are about to explode, so drags JJ out as the barrels fall on top of the sister and explode. I'm just like, holy crap. And then you just have this final scene that just made me cry. Like, I don't know how else to say. Okay, I wasn't bawling or anything like that, but I mean, I'm tearing up over here because you got JJ who's just so emotionally distraught by this, and once again, the chemistry between the two characters make this scene work because she's like crying and just, I wasn't able to save her, and I had to sit there with her brother until his mom arrived, and then seeing the mom cry because she lost her daughter. It was all so emotional, and I'm just like, dang it, Criminal Minds, how did you do that? After 12 seasons, how did you do that? And like I said, I mean, yes, the sister being there feels like kind of a plot device to make it to where JJ can't save the little girl. A little bit, yes, but at the same time, it does lead to that final emotional moment which leads to some character development for JJ. Like, yeah, we've known in the past that little kids do affect her. We've seen that over the past couple seasons. I understand that. This is the first time we've actually seen her not be able to save one of those little kids. Like, directly. Like, obviously, whenever there's a case and the little kids have already been killed, yeah, that affects her, but it's not directly affecting her. You know what I mean? Like, she was not directly responsible because she didn't know about this. This is a case where the little girl is right in front of her. And she's even saying at the end, like, what if I'd gone for her first? What if I hadn't gone for her brother first? What if I'd gone for her first? Maybe then I could have saved both of them. And it's just like all these little what if moments. What if I hadn't sent Luke out? What if I had asked him to give me the bolt cutters first before carrying? What if I had done this? What if I'd done this? All these questions that are directly affecting her, and you see every single one of those questions. You see the impact that it has on her, and the emotion that brings just really digs into her. And Hotch tells her at the end of the episode, "I want you to take a week off." And it makes me wonder, how is this going to affect her for the rest of the season? Are we going to see her kind of in like like the way that Reed was affected after being kidnapped by that one guy, the way that Elle was affected in the second season after being shot by the Fisher King. Can't believe I still remember some of these names. Like 11 seasons ago. You remember that very first season finale, Criminal? Anyway. So it makes me wonder, are we going to see her being affected by this for the rest of the season? Is she going to take Will's advice and not blame herself for this? I don't know. And I really, really hope that they talk about this. I really hope that they don't just sweep it under the rug and say, oh yeah, that episode happened. Moving on. I don't want that to happen because I feel like sometimes they have a tendency to do that. They have a tendency to go, okay, this episode happened, here are the repercussions. Moving on. Reed's drug problem I don't think has been talked about since we kind of learned that he got over it. I can't even remember when that was, but it feels like it's still something that we should talk about at some point. His mother, when he learned that she has Alzheimer's and that affects him directly, he said something about his mother, but we still haven't really talked about how that's still affecting him. We haven't really talked about Garcia not being able to see Morgan anymore. She has lost a friendship at work. She probably still talks to him, but we don't talk about some of this stuff. We don't talk about Hotch and what he's going through. We don't talk about Rossi and what he's going through. It just kind of happens one episode, and then the next it doesn't exist anymore. So I really want this to be talked about because this is something that directly impacts JJ, and JJ is kind of like my favorite character right now until Prentice comes back next week. So I really want to see how this affects her. I want to see her having to deal with this. I'm really excited. This season has started off really well. It's got a great premise for the overarching story with Mr. Scratch and the escaped serial killers. Prentice is coming back. You've got JJ now dealing with this episode, which may affect her later on. I don't want them to lose this momentum. Like, last season started off well in the first episode, but by the second episode I could tell it was going to be just kind of like season 10, a fairly forgettable season, obviously until what happened with Morgan. But, up until that point, it was pretty much just, oh yeah, another season of Criminal Minds. Season 10, started off, okay, this could be interesting. You've got something else going on in the background. Never talked about again until the very final episode of the season. So, a very forgettable season. I don't want that to happen to this season. I want this season to be really memorable. I want them to bring some really crazy ideas. I want them to bring some character development that makes us care. All that good stuff. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you think about this episode? What do you want to see them do with this episode and in the future? All that good stuff. Let me know. We can talk about and discuss. Leave a like and subscribe to future Criminal Minds reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.